Welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. It is Monday evening, 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and that means what? It is the Sharpe Way Ask Me Anything. Yes, it is. I'm so happy that you all tuned in this evening. You know what I'm going to ask you to do, so please go to it. Please like and comment and share. Some of you have already commented. Thank you so much. Those comments matter. Please share this with your friends and family and people who you like and you hate. Both is fine. And obviously, click those like buttons, those happy buttons, those sad buttons. Just click those buttons and let people know that you're paying attention, that it matters. Yeah, I started today with a question that I think some people are taking very seriously, right? They're concerned about the election coming up here, particularly Trump supporters, some non-Trump supporters too, but particularly Trump supporters are concerned. They're asking the question, and the question, yes, Tim, it is a good question. Can Trump win New York State? Now, why in the world would someone think that Trump could win New York State, right? Why would you bring this up? And if you're going to bring it up, why now, right? Why today or next week or last week or whenever it was? Well, it's actually kind of simple. Because he said so. That kind of solves the problem right there, right? Because he said so. So let me show you a little piece that popped up actually in the New York Post. That's New York Post. New York is in play. New York Post posts that interview with Donald Trump. It's in play. All right. Well, okay. So are you now saying that Donald Trump, the Post kind of, made it sound like that? I mean, they're a tabloid, and that's what it was. He didn't really say that. Yeah, he did. He actually said it. And this is the reason why people are talking about it right now. Hold on, let me get to you right now if I can. He actually said it.
And we're going to...
Hold on, let me make sure I got this right so I don't screw this up, to make sure I get this right for you all. He actually did say this.
Give New York a real shot, and I think we have one hell of a shot at doing it. I just said this morning, the New York Post, which has been great.
See, he actually said it. He actually did say it. We're going to give New York a shot. This is what Trump says.
The New York Post had a cover story about that. They came and interviewed me at the Oval Office, and they talked about law and order in the city.
Yep.
And I said, I did very well, Republican-wise. I did very well. We did great.
That's not really true, to be forward with you. Look, I know you Trump supporters are going to be mad when I say this, but he lost by 20 some odd points. New York State was not kind to him in 2016. New York State hasn't been kind to Republicans in about 18 years or so. So not shocking.
And I really believe that solid core of people has to be real. I mean, first of all, they're leaving. A lot of them are leaving.
And there's the point I want to bring up, right? While I totally get that there is a solid core of hardcore Republicans in New York State, I know I've met many of them. Many of you watch the show. Many of you guys watching the show are Republicans. I get it. And there's lots of you in New York State who are hardcore Republicans, or even not hardcore. You lean Republican, maybe Libertarian. You lean right versus leaning left. Lots of people like that. Absolutely. But there's a cap. And that's the issue, right? There's literally a cap. There's only a certain amount that are going to go there. And after that, not much. But the point he just said is they're leaving. Yes. Right now, for those of you who don't know, in New York State, you go back about 10 years, give or take. It was about 2-1 Democrat to Republican in New York State. Now, with old people leaving, it's maybe 3-1. Most of the people who are leaving are people who would vote anti-blue, right? Who wouldn't vote blue. They're leaving. They're not happy with our blue state. That's why they're leaving it. The people who in theory would vote Trump, they're walking away. I'm not sure this is true.
Leaving, but they have to be disgusted with what's going on.
I think that's true.
So I said then and there, and I said it today. I put it out today strongly. We're going to go and give New York a real shot. I think we have a real chance of winning New York.
Now, I got to tell you, I think he's pandering. I think he's pandering because, look, he's very pro-cop, obviously. He's at the New York City Police Benevolent Association. He's about to get endorsed by them. Right afterwards, they endorse him, right? So I get it. He's very pro-cop, law and order president, Cops are endorsing him in New York City. He wants those votes, but not just that. You get endorsed by the New York City cops, that's families and friends throughout the entire country. It's 40,000 New York City cops, right? So you get endorsed there. That's a lot of tentacles in other areas. Politically, this makes a lot of sense. I get what he's doing. I'm not sure he buys it. I think he's just pandering. That's just me.
But we're going to give you so much of what you're looking for, because I know exactly. It's so easy.
So that's all I want to bring up. He actually said he's going to give it a go, and then he went off to about other things. I think he's pandering. Maybe some of you guys think I'm crazy, but I think he's pandering. I think he was there with the cops, pro-cop, 40,000 New York City cops, and a bunch of them have friends and family, and some of them don't even live in New York State, but they're in Connecticut and New Jersey, and half their families moved down south, and now they're going to start talking. It's a smart political move. I think it's just talk. I can't see New York State going Trump. It's probably 3-1 Democrat, Republican. And the one thing that unites Democrats this year is they hate Trump. So why would all of a sudden they go, you know what? Law and order is not good, but is good. But I'm going to vote for Trump. I don't see Democrats doing it, right? And I even look at former Democrats, people who no longer are. And I have a lot of friends in New York City who've been raised Democrat for literally decades. And the party has left them in their view, right? Many of them say, I'm not a Democrat, damn liberals. There's many people in New York City who feel that way. But for decades, they've been told Republicans are the bad guys. They're the bad guys, right? They don't want to vote Republican. Many of them come Libertarian, Green, something, right? They look for independent or sadly don't vote, but go someplace else, do write-ins. They do whatever it takes because they've been taught for decades that Republicans are the bad guys, but they're no longer Democrat. So they're lost. Well, I'm here. Yeah. Libertarians are still here. Absolutely. Like an 80s movie where the girlfriend next door who was always here. I don't know why you went for the cool girl in high school. The girl next door was here the whole time, right? So we were here the whole time. You might ask, why am I even talking about this? There's several reasons why. The first one is, if you live in New York State and you support Trump, you can vote for Trump if you want to, but you are literally throwing your vote away. The way New York State works, all our electors go to whoever wins. Biden's winning. You can do it. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't vote, Republican on the bottom of your ticket or the middle of your ticket. I mean, Republicans win in New York State locally all the time. Statewide, there has not been a Republican winning a statewide election in New York State in 18 years. I'm not making that number up. Do your homework. Doesn't happen. The state is far too blue. You're throwing your vote away here. You can do it, but you're throwing your vote away. I would go as far as say, if you're a Democrat voting blue in New York State for Biden, you're throwing your vote away. Either way, Biden takes this state. So that's all that matters. Locally, look and decide who you want to look at. But statewide, I don't know what you're doing. I say this because two reasons. That was one. Here's a second reason. Come November, a whole lot of Americans are going to be really disappointed. I don't know who's going to win. Right now, the polls look better for Biden, but who knows what that means. So if Trump wins this thing, you're going to have a whole lot of unhappy, sad Democrats. If Biden wins this thing, you're going to have a whole lot of unhappy, disappointed Republicans. Either way, come to us. We're here. We're here. Absolutely. I don't want you getting your hopes up and getting destroyed and thinking I'm not going ha-ha. I know what it's like to lose. Yeah, I know what it's like to watch my candidates lose. I know that feeling very well. I'm not ha. I'm like, I got you. Come to me. Come to me. I'm here. I know I'm bugging you about this, but I wanted to make sure it was open. I want you guys to realize, look, if you're a Trump supporter and you're looking at Michigan, Pennsylvania, Florida, all possible, he could win any of those. He's not winning New York. 3-1 Democrats, and the people who are leaving are the people who would vote against Biden. They're not staying. They're gone. A lot of them are leaving. This state's going blue so fast, it's not even funny. So you might say, well, Larry, why are you here? Because this state could go gold. Why? Because of what I just said earlier. While all those Democrats that are upset have been trained for the last 20 years that Republicans are the bad guys, they have not been trained that Libertarians are bad guys. They don't even know who we are. We don't have that baggage. Democrats will vote gold. If Republicans realize we're not Democrats, Republicans will vote gold. You saw that when I ran in New York State. Democrats and Republicans both voted gold. They can vote gold. They can. Republicans in New York State have a cap. They're not going to go past X percent. My gut says you're never going to get more than about 35, 40% in this state. That's about it. You're done at statewide level. Statewide, not locally, statewide. It's about it. So you're going to get. But add that with Libertarian votes. Add that with Democrats who actually want to show up. That's how we beat. That's how we win. All right. I yapped away. This is the AMA, and I'm not doing any AMA-ing, so I probably should. I just wanted to bring that piece up. Absolutely. To answer that question, you have to ask the city. Yeah, and you know, a lot of people are saying, but there's law and order issues and the city's on fire. Doesn't mean they want Trump. They blame Trump for this. There's the issue, right? Most of the people who are having problems in these cities, they still blame Trump for it. That's all Cuomo does. Our governor, he blames Trump for everything. Doesn't matter what happens. If his car breaks down tomorrow, Trump did it. He blames Trump for everything. And as long as they can blame Trump, I don't think it'll change. I just don't think so. Yes, even with the violence in New York City. I think what they want more than anything is to blame someone. And, you know, they're going to blame Trump. I just don't see it. Yes. Light blue possible, but red flip is long. I agree with you, Javier. Light blue, maybe. I do think it's possible that Trump does better than expected. I think that could happen. That's totally possible. He could do better than expected. But a win, I think, is just a bridge too far. I think some New Yorkers finally see what year's Democratic rule has produced: a huge budget deficit and chaos in the streets. I prefer flip gold, but I settle for red. I would love a flip gold. Absolutely. My worry is I don't think, I mean, look, I'm here in New York City, and people still don't like Trump. They're still blaming him. If you watch the Democratic convention, they blame Trump for everything. And I think a lot of Democrats, I'm sorry, not a lot of people, a lot of Democrats are buying the rhetoric completely. I think they are. It's all Trump's fault. It's not the system's fault. It's not Democrat fault. It's all Trump's fault. So I think they actually are buying the rhetoric. That's my view. New York isn't even necessary for a Democratic win. If you don't know where all the electoral votes are going already, there'll be a little campaigning here. Yeah, you're right, Dave. They're not really going to campaign here very much. That's true. I mean, they're not. I think he was pandering because he was there with the cops. He wanted to be good to them. They gave him an endorsement. He didn't want to be a jerk. I think that's what he did. So, hello from Tokyo. Tokyo, how are you, sir? Tokyo, by the way, is, some people don't know, is not the original capital of Japan. The original capital of Japan was Kyoto, and then they moved to a town called Edo, and then they changed the name from Edo to Tokyo. See what kind of trivia you get by watching this show? I love it. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you, Dan. I appreciate the comment for the algorithm. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, Trump is an economic genius. Will he? Depends on a corrupt New York City. You know, I got to say, I hear this all the time. People keep saying it's New York City. It isn't just New York City. It is New York City. It's not just New York City. It's all the cities. Right? Buffalo votes blue, Rochester votes blue, Syracuse votes blue, Utica votes blue, Ithaca votes blue, Albany votes blue, the Binghamton votes blue. I think all of the cities of New York State vote blue. It isn't just New York. It is New York again, Brian. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm saying it isn't just New York City. All the cities tend to vote blue. Yeah. CNN and Quinnipiac both have about up 20 plus points. Yeah, and Trump was losing to Hillary. I mean, and Hillary was not liked, clearly. Hillary beat him by 22 points in 2016. I don't see him winning at all. Yep, not a chance. I agree. Look, could he win the election still? Yes. Obviously, right now, the polls don't look good for him. The polls didn't look good for him in 2016 either. So who knows what that means. But I don't see New York State at all. I think he was pandering to keep the cops happy, you know, because he's obviously pro-cop, getting their endorsement. It makes sense. Yes, if upstate coordinates, we have the numbers. I'm not sure that's true, Jason. Again, all the cities upstate vote blue, right? The rural areas and the suburbs, they do, but no. Absolutely. Tommy, I feel New York has a real chance to go yellow. Yes, absolutely. Larry, your work in New York is 8. Thank you, brother. I'm trying my best. Absolutely. He's trolling. I'm not sure. You think maybe Trump is trolling? Maybe. Absolutely. Bill de Blasio and his Matthew Cuomo are pretty bad, and I moved from New York. I know. So many people left New York. I know. And they are bad. Absolutely. I might be encouraged if New York is not a Democratic landslide win, but I doubt he could ever win New York. Yeah, and, to go with what Javier said, I think there's a chance it's a light blue, right? I think most people right now are thinking it's going to be something like, 65-35 or some crazy number like that. Most people are thinking that. But if it's like 55-45, Paul, maybe, right? It could be. It's possible. It's possible. I think people are thinking it's going to be 65-35 right now. That's what they're thinking right now. We'll see. He knows a Dems tweeted up. Yeah, we're talking about it. So I think he's winning, right? PD boy. I think we're talking about it now. So if he's trolling, it's working. Yep. Larry, this is the magic of the bully pulpit. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. 100%. Yes. In the northern part of the state, maybe more conservative physically. Yeah, I think there are a lot of Trump supporters in upstate New York, central New York, western New York, North Country. A lot of Trump supporters up there. Absolutely. Not many downstate. There are some, but just not many. Percentage-wise, not many. He was very huge when he gave his speech. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. When was the last time New York went red? Reagan? Wow, Craig, that's a good question. I think it was Reagan. Trying to think. Did Bush? No, Bush didn't win New York, did he? No, he didn't. No, you're right. Wow, Reagan. There we go. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And last time we had a senator who was Republican from New York State was the 90s. So over 20 years ago, right? Over 20 years ago for that. We need to have Thomas Daniel Quieter, and Tori Alexander debate over term limits. I love that. Yes, absolutely. All right. Trump is the man. Trump, I know people like Trump. I get it. I'm voting Joe Jorgensen. I've been clear about that since, for months already. But he's not winning New York. I'm just saying. He might win the election. I don't know who's going to win the election. He's not winning New York, David. That he's not doing. That the state's just too blue. And what unites Democrats, when many of you got mad at me about 2 weeks ago, or was it last week? I think it was 2 weeks ago. When I talked about the idea of, should Trump have been removed back when I said I had the chance in February. Many of you guys so mad that I even brought that up, right? I was bringing it up for a point. And the point was the number one thing that is uniting Democrats and making them excited about voting and their entire campaign is Trump bad. If you remove Trump, what do Democrats have? Pence bad? That doesn't work very well. That makes any sense. That's what I was talking about. So right now, Trump is uniting the left against him. I think it's true. It's happening. Will that pay off in November? We'll find out. Yeah. My dad thinks there is still a chance to go red. No, your dad is wishful thinking. Good if he feels that way. I mean, people can think what they want. That's wishful thinking. Yep. New York Republicans are not kind to New York Republicans. Yes. Kind of like libertarians, Tim. Kind of similar. Absolutely. Very similar way of doing things. Yes. Was it 20 points lower than most races? Actually, I don't know. Good question on that one, too. I don't really know. The issue is locally, Republicans do win in New York State. Again, for those of you who live in New York, you know this. For those of you who don't live in New York, locally, Republicans win races. Very rarely in New York City. But once in a while, Republicans even win in New York City. It does happen, but it's just rare. But statewide, Republicans don't win in statewide elections. The state is just far too blue. Is upstate New York Republican or Democrat? The cities upstate are Democrat. Everything else is red. If you looked at a map of red and blue, massive swath of red with blue splots wherever the cities are. That's what it is, James. All right. Larry, I moved to Winston-Salem, got moved up. Now I'll miss your event in Syracuse. Can you forgive me? I still love you, Aaron. I hope I won't be following you. I hope we can actually fix this thing so we don't have to worry about that. Yes. Yeah, Jeff Kruger, he's not one in New York. I agree. Yep. Hey, Sharpe, found you from In Hot Water. You know what you're talking about. Thank you, brother. Yes, I was in Hot Water twice. with that. That's for you guys that know, Compound Media, Aaron Berg, and wow, it's embarrassing. He was on my show like 2 weeks ago, and I've forgotten the co-host. I remember Aaron Berg because he was the one yelling and screaming. I'm gonna get the name. I'm sorry. God, I feel so bad. Anyway, In Hot Water, great show. Compound Media, yes. Every morning 9 a.m. something like that? Compound Media, please enjoy. Yes. And Donald doesn't drink. Wow, simply delusional. Yeah, I don't think he's delusional. Again, I think he was pandering because he was there in front of those people. I don't think he wanted to be a good guy. Yeah, I think he did. Hi from Asheville. I love Asheville. Been there before. Great place. Western North Carolina. Love that place. Actually considered moving there. Thought about it. It's a college there too. I forgot the name of the colleges there, Leslie. But yes, great town. A lot of cool stuff there. Yes. All right. I was wrong when I said yes, Dump will win New York. I meant this year. I'm not sure what you mean, Jack. But I appreciate it. Thank you for being on. I appreciate that. Karen's Trump 2020. Got it. Yep. All right. His 2A is the same as Cuomo. Take guns first, due process later. That's true, Artie. You Trump's supposed to be mad at me. He is not pro 2A as you think he is. He's not. He is as pro 2A as he thinks he needs to be to not get in trouble. That's what he is. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You always speak optimism. That's not pandering. I guess that's, is he being up? He said, I think we have a good chance. I'm gonna give it a shot. Is he saying he's actually going to put money into New York State? See, Jeremy, if he's actually going to do it, he's raised a ton of money, right? This is going to be, I don't know how much money is going to be spent on this campaign. His and Biden's together is I'm sure is going to break $1 billion. I don't know how much, but I'm sure spending will break $1 billion. When they start dropping that cash, is he going to drop $100 million in New York State in advertisements? Is he going to do that? If he is, then you're right. He's being optimistic and not pandering. But if he's going to throw, $500,000 in New York State while he spends, $300 million in Texas, that's pandering. So I guess you're right. You don't know. We'll see if he does what he says. We'll see that. Yes. 40,000 cops don't vote the same. Never have, never will. Valid point, Shelley. I think that's true. They don't all support him. That's true. I know cops. Not everyone supports Trump. I got to tell you, most do, though. Most do, but not all do. I think you're right. The issue is, though, it's not just the cops, right? He's not only concerned about the cops in New York City. He's concerned about all their families and friends that spread across the country, and he's hoping they will, help to push the message. I'm sure he's trying to push the message, too. Larry, I watched your Joe Rogan, and I liked a lot of your ideas about health insurance, and I do agree with you that national socialist healthcare does not work and is a commodity, not a right. However, it seems hard to imagine the situation where someone with a pre-existing condition or someone with a special needs child will be able to get coverage from a private insurance company. What ideas would you suggest that people in these unique situations not fall through the cracks? This is a great point. It's a little bit off topic, but I'm happy it's AMA. I often talk about repairing systems, very common. Social Security, healthcare, school systems. But as a general rule, you always notice I don't destroy what's already there. I don't abolish what's there. What I do is I create a secondary market. I create a secondary option within the market for people to choose so that people can choose the right one. So obviously, I wouldn't get rid of Medicare or Medicare yet. That's not what I would start with. I'd start with allowing the market to work its magic. And then if you were in that spot, you could always fall back to that. So having a safety net there, if it doesn't work for you, would still exist. Now, what does that mean? That means over time, would there be a way of filling that gap? I think there would be. I think we'd have a whole bunch of St. Jude's. Those who don't know, St. Jude is a hospital that is for kids with cancer, and they never take $1, right? It is only charity, only gifts. Now, there aren't enough St. Jude's to fill all the needs that Avi's talked about. They don't exist right now. But I think over time, if we did this right, again, without removing the safety net, that eventually you'd make it to a point where we wouldn't need the safety net. Now, that might be 5 years. That might be 50 years. I don't actually know how long it will take. It depends upon how fast things happen. So my answer, obviously, is simply don't remove the safety net yet. What I say all the time is, if my ideas are as good as I think they are, then people will naturally go there and the government options will go away. That's my hope. If I'm wrong and my ideas are garbage, people still have the government to fall back on. So that is my answer. My answer is create the right service, create the right way of doing things, encourage people to have the right forms of choices for people who have pre-existing conditions and all the kinds of issues, create that environment. And if it works well, government will go away. You won't need it anymore, right? The issue is I don't want to prop up government or give government special rules. I just want to allow others to compete also. So my answer is I'm not taking away that. If you're in a situation to where there's nothing left for you, and I feel bad if you are, there's still the safety net is still there. I do believe in my heart that over time, we won't need it, that there will be enough St. Jude's that will eventually exist to where that charity will eventually fill that gap. And you don't pull away the safety net until it does, whether that's, again, 5 years or 50 years or whatever the time may be. I hope that answers your question. All right. Trump has no label other than whatever lines the pocket. It's funny. I like that. Good joke. Yes. Trump should be appealing to the half-backers and try to secure North Carolina by criticizing Cuomo. He's doing it. It's actually not a bad deal. I think you're right, James, right? There are a lot of New Yorkers who, for those who don't know, a half-backer is someone, halfback is a name for New Yorkers. Those who move to Florida and then halfway back to North Carolina, South Carolina, they're called halfbacks. So, yes, I think he's doing that. I think that's part of his plan is to try to get the people who were in New York, who moved to swing states, to influence their families so that they can vote for them and he can win swing states. I don't think he thinks he can win New York. I think he's trying to help the swing states. I was a Democrat, switched independent. I'm unfortunately voting for Biden. So, yeah, so I think, look, if you were a Democrat or were a Republican, unless you are aggressively angry at your former party, like you feel like you've been betrayed or you're aggressively angry, you still lean left or lean right, which is the odds. The odds are that's why you picked your party in the first place, right? Most people, and it's not everyone, obviously, but most people don't immediately go, my God, I agree with everything in the Democratic Party platform and jump on it. Or I agree with everything in the Republican platform and jump on it. Most don't do that. Most lean left or lean right and go towards one of the parties to where they lean politically. Most people do that. Christina, you probably lean left, so you probably went Democrat because you lean left. But you weren't strong Democrat, which is why you went independent. So you were a left-leaning independent. And now when you think, oh, my God, what I'm going to do, you lean left and you vote Biden. I get it. You could always vote Libertarian. Just saying, that option is there for you. Citing a ragmag must be desperate. It's funny, right? The idea of, and for those who don't know, a lot of people feel the New York Post is almost like a tabloid now. That wasn't always the case with the Post. But the one advantage the Post has is it's surviving relatively well compared to other papers, where most papers are falling apart. And one of the reasons it has become much more tabloidy. I mean, that's absolutely true. But the Post is New York City's right-leaning paper. I don't know what right-leaning means in New York City, if you get my drift, Holly. But yes, it is the right-leaning paper of New York City. But again, a New York City Republican, Bloomberg was a New York City Republican. So a New York City Republican is, I tease all the time when I say this, right? I'm joking, but I'm not. If you're a communist, you're a Democrat. If you're a socialist, you're a Republican in New York City. That's how that works in New York City. Oh, I'm not full communist. Okay, so that means you're Republican. It's kind of how that works. I know a bunch of my friends that are Dems that are voting for Trump because of Joe Biden. Yeah, I got to tell you, if you've watched the Democratic convention last week, and Republican is this week starting tonight, Democratic convention, and I've said this before, if you're paying attention to what I'm saying, if I was Biden's campaign manager, I say stay in the basement, don't come out, don't say much, and just let people keep hating on Trump. If they hate him enough, you win. Don't put your foot in your mouth, don't do anything crazy, don't alienate people. And they did a convention that went out of its way to alienate anyone who wasn't a person of color. Just alienate them. They went out of their way to alienate them. The amount of people who told me that, I mean, I was watching going, ooh, God, that must feel, ooh, God, Oh boy, my white friends. I was literally watching thinking, oh, my white friends. God, man. Okay. Sorry about that. That's what I was thinking when I was watching it. And I know because people told me I have a lot of white friends. And they were like, well, wow, that didn't feel good. But to be forward, Jesse, most of them are still voting Biden. Even though they felt that, most are still voting Biden. The issue I have is that wasn't required. Right. This is, and I say this often, the Clinton strategy of the 90s, while I'm not a Clinton fan, was a savvy political strategy. Right. What Clinton did well is he said, OK, I'm a Democrat, so I'm not going to worry about Democrats and Democratic policies. I'm going to move to the middle and try to make, Clinton Republicans and try to do that thing. Right. I'm going to move to the middle, move to the right in certain issues and try to bring them over. That was one of the things he did. And it worked well for him. It was a good political strategy. Devastated, minority communities with his 150,000 cops he threw into the ghettos and into the barrios and into the trailer parks, but heavily barrios and ghettos that he threw into there. Terrible for us. However, a smart political move to keep them in power. I think the Democrats should be following that now, and they're not. They're pandering deeper to a base that is going to vote for them anyway. While I get what they're doing because I guess they're going to motivate them to get up and vote, they're going to vote for them anyway. It seems like a silly move. If I was Democrat, I'd be moving towards the middle to hope that I can get never Trumpers to come to me. That's what I'd be hoping for. Not what they did. I guess the first day they did. After that, not so much. So thank you. Could the Libertarian Party play the We Love America card to gain major party status from the Dems? Maybe. The problem with the Libertarian Party playing the We Love America card is the core of the Libertarian Party is stronger than America, if it makes any sense. We are more about individual freedoms than the Constitution is. Whereas the core of the Libertarian Party is actually more libertarian than America is. If that makes any sense, right? America's not libertarian enough for us, right? If you look at the core of our party. So the idea of the Libertarian Party to play the We Love America card, I think, is difficult. Not impossible, particularly if it grew and there were more people who were much more moderate libertarians. Maybe it's possible, but not today. That might be the future. I don't know. Okay, that's talking to someone else. I apologize. Trump hasn't pulled out the federal execution laws that apply to cop killers. The cops know it. Okay. Maybe that's part of it. Okay, I buy that. Okay, got you. Sniffy Joe. I do like that one, yes. Would you mind if I framed it as he's trying to offer hope to New York Republicans, even though he may not be realistic? And yes, libertarians are here, but yeah, it might be that. Look, I feel bad for the Republican Party in New York State. I do. I feel bad for the Democratic Party in Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma is a very red state. Democrats aren't going to win a statewide election in Oklahoma, and Republicans aren't going to win a statewide election in New York. Just depends where you live, right? The sad part is where you live often chooses who your governors are going to be, blatantly, right? So, I mean, how do you, if you're the chair of the New York State GOP, I mean, what do you do, right? I mean, you're not going to win. So do you tell Republicans stay home or just vote local or, be good for Trump? What do you do? It's a hard place to be if you're a Democrat, chair in Oklahoma or Republican chair in New York State. So, yeah, I guess Nick is the guy who runs the GOP in New York State. Guy's got a tough job. I wouldn't want it. So maybe he's trying to hook him up and give him false hope. Maybe. So Larry, if Joe would win the popular vote, his electoral college is obligated to vote for Joe. As in Jorgensen? If she wins the states, they're supposed to vote. I'm not sure where you're going with this one, Ed. I'm assuming you mean if she wins states, that the states would have to vote for her. I assume so. Yes. What? I mean, the Libertarian Party in each state should be. I hope they are. I know New York State's doing it. I hope every state in the union that has, and we all have, the Libertarian Party has affiliates in every state, that they're creating a slate of electors that if we win, for those of you who don't know, we don't vote directly for the president. Many of you know this because you watch this show, so you're savvy, but some of you may not care about that, right? We don't actually vote for the president. We vote for a slate of electors who then go to Electoral College and then vote for who we said they're supposed to vote for, or supposed to at least, right? So if Joe wins the state, then our Libertarian electors would go there. I would hope they'd vote for her and not go, I'm just kidding, and vote Biden or Trump. I would hope they would. I'm one of the electors in New York State. If she wins New York State, I will vote for her. I promise you that. And I'm 99.9% sure that every Libertarian elector from New York State would vote for Joe Jorgensen. So I think so. I don't know where you're going with that. Speaking of Democrats, Republicans, correct me if I'm wrong, but both Democrats and Republicans haven't done a damn thing to solve the race problems last issue. Yes, that's true. But Democrats act like they care more, right? One thing I'll give them, I don't know if you guys watched the Democratic convention. Democrats did a lot wrong, but they did one thing right. And this will make some of you upset, but they did this completely right. They absolutely made Joe Biden look very human, very empathetic, very feeling. They made him feel like a nice guy. And I'm telling you, a lot of people I talk to are like, he had a speech impediment. Is that why he stutters? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, and he calls people. I didn't know his family died in a car accident. I mean, that was one thing they did very well. So I want to give credit where credit is due. That was done very well. Joe Biden came out looking a whole lot more human and nicer and more connecting, more empathetic. That did well. But did he solve any problems? No. Biden made stuff worse. Kamala Harris hasn't met a law she didn't love. Oh, who can I lock up? I'm in. Yes. So they solved no problems. But I'm just giving him credit, right? He did look and feel more empathetic and real. Democrats for that. Well done. Let's see if Republicans can do the same for Trump. They won't. The Republicans won't do that. That's not who Trump is, right? Biden is going to be, or trying to be, the empathetic, I feel your pain guy, like Clinton was, and Clinton was good at it in the 90s. For those of you who are old enough to remember, Clinton was Mr. I feel your pain, right? Oh, people loved him, so empathetic. Amazing. He can portray that better than most. Trump is going to be what he's strength. Trump is the strength. He's going to project strength, project power, and that's, if he does it well, the people get it. It's good. The thing to remember about what makes you charismatic is not just being powerful. It's also sharing or giving or being warmth. If Trump can combine those two, home run. If he can't, he can come across as a tyrant. We'll see how it comes across, right? You find Cuomo, my governor, tries very hard to put that warmth out. He's just so terrible at it because he's really a jerk, right? My governor really is a jerk. That's who he is. So it's really hard for him to put out that. And he says, love wins. He says crap like that because that's what they write for him. He doesn't believe any of it. And it's obvious. So he doesn't do it very well. He projects tyrant very well. Let's hope for you Republicans that Trump does a better job of that. So, all right. The problems, red and green votes don't count in New York. Often. But hold on. Gold does count. And the reason why it counts in New York is if you people out there in New York State, if you want a gold option on your ballot, we need 160,000 votes in November. So the gold votes will be counted, my friend. They'll be counted in New York State. You're in New York State, vote gold, rock and roll. Yes. This election is far too important to split the Jorgensen vote with the duopoly. Vote gold. I get it. It's too important. Why are we wasting our time voting for Democrats, Republicans? I'm with you, Ryan. Damn people stealing all our votes. Why are they stealing all our votes? Trump will win. I hope you're saying the country, not New York State. Jeremy, he's not winning New York State. That's not going to happen. He might win the country. I don't know about that. I was completely wrong in 2016. So I'm not about to make some kind of projection now. I'm not doing that now at all. I didn't think Trump was going to win in 2016. I was totally wrong. So I'm not saying he's winning or losing. I don't know. But New York State, I will absolutely say he's not winning New York State, but he still might win the election. I have no idea. Yes. I gave that throw your vote away argument to my dad, and he still won't vote Libertarian because he still has that sliver of belief that New York will go red. I know. See, Rebecca, I think you've just answered our question. You've answered the question. What do you do as if you live in New York? I'm sorry, if you're the New York State chair of the Republican Party, or you're the Oklahoma State chair of the Democratic Party, you put out that sliver of belief. See, Tim, maybe you were right. That's what Trump was doing. He was putting out that belief to help out New York State Republicans. See, we might win. It's possible. And then people will vote that instead of voting Libertarian. Maybe. Rebecca, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yes. Yeah. In New York, you can vote with a clear conscience because your vote doesn't count. That's actually funny, Tim. I love that. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So vote whatever you want. Vote however you feel in New York State when it comes to president. Biden gets it anyway. I love that idea. I'm so stealing that too. I'm stealing all your stuff, Tim. I'm glad. I'm just taking all your stuff. I love it. Yes. New York going red in November? No, my friend. No, not doing it. No, not doing it. I feel your party needs to start locally, turn enough small cities gold and show people what you can do personally. I'm gold locally. Jason, I agree with you completely. If you see what I've been doing, some of you pay attention to my afternoon show. I have an afternoon show, which is not Sharpe Way. It's a different show. It's called Libertarian Drinking Coffee Live. Literally, it is interviewing all the local candidates that are running throughout the entire nation. I interviewed Tim. Tim was on it. So I've done about 75 candidates over the past year, give or take, in that area. So there's hundreds of them. And I cross the country. I pick all different states. I do believe you're right. I think people have to see us win locally. The world doesn't end when Libertarian wins, and that we can actually make things happen. Trains can run on time, and people don't die. The world doesn't end, and things can be better when there's a Libertarian around. And the most important thing, which I try to get people to understand, Jason, and I think you get this while you're saying this, is when you have a strong Libertarian Party, for those of you who are never going to become Libertarian, some of you are going to stay Democrat or you're going to stay Republican. You're not becoming Libertarian. I get it. Some of you aren't going to do it. I wish you'd all become Libertarian, but I'm realistic. If there are more Libertarians and a strong Libertarian Party, you're going to have better Democrats and better Republicans. You have to. Because if they don't learn to work with others and get stuff done, when Libertarians become the swing vote. They become the swing vote in getting things done. So you've got to create coalitions. You've got to get stuff done. Not just that. You can't just be a rhetoric machine. You can't just be other guy bad. You have to actually do something. Otherwise, people will go Libertarian. So, Jason, I agree. I think that is the future of the party and the movement. And if we get more people locally who are Libertarians, you guys, everybody out there, you will get better Republicans and you will get better Democrats, right? Democrats are supposed to be about civil liberties. They're not. They're supposed to be. You have a strong Libertarian Party, they will be. They'll have to be, or people will vote Libertarian. Republicans are supposed to be about smaller government, less taxes. They're not. But if you have good Libertarians there, they have to be. Otherwise, you vote Libertarian. So we're on the same page. I'm agreeing. I'm already on it. I'm trying my best to promote local candidates so they can grow. And so we can have a good farm team for the future. I completely agree. Thoughts on restoring the Senate to representing state government rather than having to vote for another set of representatives? For those of you who don't know, the Senate used to not be voted on directly. The Senate was selected by the state legislature. Right? The state legislature or the state assemblies would then select 2 senators to head up to D.C. That's how it used to be. That's how the Constitution was originally written. They adjusted it and changed it to now we vote directly for a statewide representative. My problem with the Senate right now, I actually don't have a problem with us voting for a statewide representative. I don't. I'm okay with it. I am. I'm not sure 6 years is appropriate. I think I would break it to 4, I think. My view. You're asking my thoughts on this. And this is my magic wand, right? I would make it to where it's 4 and not 6. I think 6 is too long. Just 4 years. Every 4 years, rotate them out. Or what that means, every 4 years, you try all over again. And I would also make a shift. I get that the Senate is there to make smaller states feel more power. I do. But the gap between, for example, California and Wyoming is simply too big. It's just too big. California is about 38 million people. Wyoming's about 500,000. So literally each senator in Wyoming represents less people than AOC does in my district. She represents about 700,000. and one in California represents 19 million. Now, I'm not saying you go to make another House of Representatives. That ruins the point. Then get rid of it. I'm saying you make a minor shift. 1/3 of the smaller states get 1 senator. The 1/3 of the middle states get 2 senators. And the 1/3 of the big states get 3 senators. This way it evens out a little bit, but there's still, you do want the Senate to have some better strength upon the smaller states. All the smaller states just get swallowed up and they become nothing. And I don't want Wyoming to be nothing. It's just unfair. Idaho to be nothing. Delaware, Rhode Island to be nothing. It's just not fair. So I do think you want individual states. It does matter. So I would make a minor shift to go lower 1/3 get 1, middle get 2, higher get 3. If you wanted to go quarters and go 1, 2, 3, and 4, I'd be okay with that, but I don't want to go too crazy on that because then it becomes too much of a difference. So anyway, I hope I answered your question on that. Good. Every voter should vote for the best person. Yes, Helen, you are right. They should. They sadly don't, but they should. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. I bet there are a lot of people planning to vote Trump, but they're afraid to admit it because they don't want to get criticized, canceled. I think that's true too. I think there is, I do see it, right? Particularly on social media when people will see stuff that I post, and then they'll IM me or direct mail, look at me, how old I am. DM me or email me or reach out somehow and go, I like what you say, but I can't say anything. I think there is some of that. I think there is. And I think that's also what happened. Then it's also what happened in 2016. A lot of people were a silent majority, right? So I think you're right. There is some of that. Yep. Let's see here. Voted for you against Cuomo, but Trump 2020 ticket in New York. Bill, I don't buy that one. Thank you for your vote, by the way. And please vote for me again. If I run again, please. I think it doesn't matter. I think, what matters is people in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Florida. I think Trump is going to lose New York no matter what you do. That's what I think. But please vote for who you like. Please stay on the page. Thank you. He left New York. Good point. He did go. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. He did leave. I don't blame him. No. Lots of people are leaving. God. Larry, I mentioned this to you when I met you 2 years ago. We need 2 states. Enough with the tax dollars from New York City argument. We want and can be substituting upstate New York. Jordan, I'm not against what you're saying at all. I'm not. I'm just being realistic here. New York State is just not going to split up. I'm not against the concept. I'm not. People should be able to have as much local government as they can possibly have. Of course. But there are 2 things to remember. The cities upstate are still blue. They're still blue. So you're still going to have blue and red problems in upstate. New York City becomes a communist state overnight. It already is, but it becomes a communist, state versus a communist city. So that's what happens overnight. But otherwise, it's not going to happen. So instead, I think we go back to what I was talking about my entire campaign. Home rule, home rule, home rule. Allow local counties to have a whole lot more control. No unfunded mandates. More money stays in the counties, right? If New York City was just doing New York City and upstate was doing upstate, you wouldn't care. I hope you come visit. See Yankee game, Broadway, whenever we open up again. Whenever our overload allows us to be humans again. Come go to Broadway, see Yankee game, watch the Knicks play, visit the Statue of Liberty, Empire State Building. I love my city. Come visit my city. And then head back home and enjoy your life. I love it. I think it can be fine, right? That's what I think is going to happen. Yes. Let's see if I can keep going. Feed gone. Cuomo was at hand. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I go out? I think I'm still here. I think I'm here. Yes. All right. Missed opportunity for debates to happen, by the way, Libertarian and GOP, if old man Joe wasn't able to debate. Libertarian and GOP? Oh, I think you. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I don't think there's going to be. No. Here's the reality. If I was Joe's campaign manager, Joe Biden's, sorry, if I was Biden's campaign manager, he's not debating. There is no way if I ran Joe Biden's campaign, there is no way I'm debating Trump. Nope. Not going to happen. I'm going to get sick, or I'm going to care about COVID, or I don't care. Insert excuse. I'm not debating Trump. Right now, the polls are as good as they can be with Biden. Why in the world would you go to battle with Trump one-on-one? I'm not doing it if I'm Biden. Now, he might anyway, because again, these guys do have egos, and they do think they got to beat up Trump and yell at him or whatever. It's, they might do it anyway, but I think it's a terrible idea. If I'm Biden's guy, I'm not letting Biden debate Trump. Nope, not doing it. Get sick, whatever, too busy, worried about COVID, whatever excuse. If they show up, I mean, Trump is going to come at him like there's no tomorrow. But the advantage is it's a gamble. If Biden actually does beat Trump in debate, Trump's finished. If he does, right? The reality of it is most people think Biden can't put two sentences together. Sometimes he can't, right? If Biden actually debates Trump and actually beats Trump, I think Trump's finished. If that actually happens. I don't see that happening, but if that does happen, Trump can pack it in. So why in the world, if one of them doesn't show up, why would the other show up? Why would Trump debate Joe Jorgensen or Howie Hawkins? Why would Biden debate Howie Hawkins or Joe Jorgensen? Why? They wouldn't. I wouldn't let them if I was their guy. I made it in debates. You guys, I know a lot of you guys talking about let her speak and doing that stuff. You don't see me push that stuff at all because it makes you feel good. Please enjoy. I love it. Go ahead. It's not going to happen. It's okay, but it doesn't matter, right? Because I made the debates in New York State. You guys in New York remember that. I made it. The League of Women Voters. And who didn't show up? Cuomo. Why would he? If I was his campaign manager, I would have told him to show up either. I would have said, don't show up either. They're all punching up. You're winning by every poll. Why the hell would you go debate? And he didn't show up. And because he didn't show up, nobody watched it. Right? This is why I'm not a fan of the kids' table debate. Let the Green Party and Libertarians and so country party guys debate together. Why? It's kids' party. It's the kids' table. No. My view on debates is very clear, and I know many of you disagree with me. You don't want me to debate? Go to hell. Take your debate and shove it up your ass. That's my answer. I'm not gonna show up at your debate. I'm not gonna complain about your debate. I'm not gonna whine about your debate. Nothing. You don't want me to debate? Bye. I'm gonna do other cool stuff without you. I'm gonna be so popular, you're gonna wish I was in your stupid debate. Because debates are all about ad revenue. If it's not good ad revenue, no one's showing it on TV. Period. That's how it works. If there's not good ad revenue, no one's putting it on TV. So we have to be more popular. We have to be more exciting. We have to be more popular, more exciting, that people want to watch us. One of the reasons why you see me almost every afternoon interviewing libertarians, trying to get them to be better at what they're doing, more exciting, more interesting, so that people want to see us. If people want to see us, then we'll get in debates. If people don't want to see us, we're not getting debates. The rest is just making people feel good, giving people missions to do stuff, which is fine. Please go do that, but it's not going to happen. The reality of it is we have to be better. It is totally unfair and true. We have to work harder and be better to get in those debates. Whether let's say we win the lawsuit. There's a lawsuit, and now they have to put Joe Jorgensen and Howie Hawkins in debates. Great. Trump says I'm not showing up. Debate's canceled. Debate's canceled. I'm not joking, but they have to because of the law. They're not gonna force them. Trump's not gonna show up, or Biden won't show up. Either one, and then there's no debate. You think Biden's gonna show up and debate Howie Hawkins and Joe Jorgensen? He'd be a fool if he did. I can't imagine Trump would do that. Why? No reason, no game whatsoever. They'd never do it. So they're not gonna show up. So what's gonna happen? ABC or CNN is gonna have a town hall, not a debate, a forum, not a debate, with Democrat and Republican. Larry, how do you know that? That's literally what happened to me. If you watched my campaign, Cuomo didn't show up to the debate. So what was there? There was a debate sponsored by CBS with Democrat and Republican. Didn't invite any of us. That's how it works. So I don't mean to be a spoil sport. Please enjoy, do it if you like. I'm not part of it because it doesn't do anything. I think it makes us look terrible. Begging to be in debates makes us look terrible, which is why I never do it. I'd never do it. You don't want me in my debate? Shove your debates up your ass. I'll go do something awesome anyway. I'm not begging to be in debate. I'm not going I'm not going to be mad about your debate. I'm not going to talk about it. You're nothing. Bye. I don't need you. That's my response. The best defense against that is disdain. That's what it is. All right. Exactly. The voters of New York blame Trump and not Cuomo or de Blasio. This is true, Pete. You see it. You know all the time. They just blame somebody else all the time. House and Senate races are more important than the president's race. I think it depends upon your state, but yes, right. Generally speaking, that's true, but it depends upon your state and what state you're in. You know, more than many things. Yeah. All right. Larry, in cities where homelessness is rampant, what solution would you suggest that would get these people off the streets and in work programs and into a home apartment, but not necessarily punishing them for being homeless and forcing them into jail or rehab centers, assuming they aren't mentally ill? Yeah, there's a lot of answers for homelessness. By the way, for those of you who care about these things, and many of you do, I'm happy to bring them up here. But if you go to my YouTube page, The Sharpe Way, and by the way, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube page, The Sharpe Way. Go to YouTube, put The Sharpe Way in, and click subscribe. It matters. Please do that. There is a playlist called Can't Feel the Burn. Maybe it's not sharp enough. Yes, dad joke. I cover every single issue on Bernie's page, Bernie Sanders' a policy page, and I provide a libertarian answer for every one of his things, every one of them, to include homelessness, to include joblessness, to include health care. I literally go through each one and just start talking. Boom, 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 down each and every one of them. So yes, there are many ways dealing with homelessness, and many ways. One of the first things is allowing for tiny houses to be built. Now, that may sound crazy, but most cities won't allow it because it seems unsafe. They don't understand that for most people who are homeless, if you put them in a large apartment, the first thing they do is they huddle into one area. Remember, for most people, once you get past a certain number of years, anywhere between 1 to 3 years, depending upon the individual, they actually don't want to be housed anymore. They feel like they're homeless now. It's difficult to get them back into action. So the first thing is allowing to be built. By the way, before I go on, this is not a one issue. This is a massive issue that will take several things. One of those things is allowing building tiny houses. You can build tiny houses in rural areas if you want to. It would be apartment complexes. Some places it's being done already. Or you do it in cities, right? Tiny house basically means a one-bedroom apartment type thing where you build it out so that it can be rotate through if you want to, but you put them all together. They're doing it already in places in the Bronx for veterans, and basically like a community housing, right? There are, say, as an example, 10 apartments on the first floor, 10 on the second floor, and the basement is filled with services that they need. Be things like, how to get a job, mental health, conversations, all the things they require is the basement, right? That's the bottom floor. There's security out front so they feel safe, right? And what they pay is they pay rent. But here's the rent they pay. The rent they pay is 1/3 of whatever they make. The only thing you have to do to get into this facility is agree to tell the people who run it how much money you make. That's it. Agree to that. If you agree to that, you can begin. You pay 1/3 of whatever you make. If you make nothing, 1/3 of nothing. If you make, $2,000 a month SSI, you pay 1/3 of that. You pay 1/3 of whatever you make. That's your rent. Now, why would you do that? You want to pay something, and the facility does have some expenses, but you could sponsor the facility not by government, but literally by companies. You have corporate sponsors on it, right? It could be like the Ronald McDonald House as an example, right? That's the thing they do. So the company name could be on it, the whole deal, and you live there. And what they found happens with that is those people who've been there for a while stay because they wind up helping people in the community become almost like elder statesmen. And as they get their act together, and some will, and to be clear, Avi, many won't. Many have been homeless for so long, it will take them a long time to get their act together, right? Many of them are going to fall back into bad habits. They're going to start hoarding within their home. That's how that works. Those of you who know the homeless population, that often happens. If you're mentally ill, that'll be a separate issue. There may be a separate home for them. Again, the basement is the facilities to figure out who is really mentally ill, who's not, who's just depressed, who really has serious issues, right? So you figure that out also. But the elder statesmen who become there, again, this is already happening in certain areas, the model that already exists, they actually wind up staying longer. As they get their act together and start making money, they start making $15,000, $20,000, $40,000 a year. Well, now you're paying 1/3 of your salary for basically a studio apartment in the Bronx or in Brooklyn. Not worth it. right? Not worth it. However, some of them stay anyway because they feel connected. So what happens? Those people, no one can help someone with a problem better than someone who's had that problem. So a former homeless person knows how to read the BS in the person who's homeless already, knows how they're feeling, can help the counselors, can make things better. Again, we see this already happening in a small scale. Then it's a massive scale and people begin to rotate out. They leave whenever they leave. Whenever they leave. If they make a lot of money to where it doesn't make any sense, they'll move out. Awesome. Someone else comes in. They may still visit. They may be hired by the place. They may volunteer time, whatever the case may be. You begin to make that happen. That isn't the end. That's just one cool idea. The second idea you do is you create actually mobile showers. Also happened in New York City, shut down by the government. Why? When someone is homeless, it's hard for someone to all of a sudden decide to get up and get back into the game where they don't have any clean clothes and haven't showered in 6 months. It's a problem, right? And those of you who dealt with a lot of homeless people, they come to a point where they don't even want to shower anymore. The smells and the things that they have in their life, they just accept as true. So mobile showers, people can get their dignity back. So that person can shower, change clothes. Now you ready to go? Let's get you in a tiny house. Let's see if we can get you going. Mobile showers, tiny houses, all of those can be sponsored by organizations and charities, not even required to be done by government. Government will give them extra passes on things like parking permits, which is one of the reasons why it didn't get done in New York City, because the mobile showers would come on the street and they ticket them to death and then say you can't do it anymore. So you give them a pass for something like that. You allow certain times of the day for the mobile showers to drive up on the streets. Don't ticket them. The homeless people know when they can come in, get their showers and clothes, and you see them begin to rotate their way through. The goal is to get homeless people to not want to be on the street. Again, what most people don't get is many homeless people, once they're on the street a certain amount of time, don't want to come back. Now, what about the working poor? That's a separate level of homelessness, right? I could spend an hour on this, Avi, but just so you know, there are tons of answers. They're all libertarian. They don't require any more taxes. Government gets out of the way. You can fix the problem. However, this is a long-term problem. This is not fixed overnight. This is at least a 5-year plan to fix this in any city in America. I hope that was helpful. All right. Democrats destroyed Black communities. True. Yes, that's true. All right. Clinton was physically and socially Republican, but he was like, hey, I'm a Democrat. In many ways, that's true, right? In many ways, that's my point, right? In many ways, he kind of moved towards the middle. He was definitely, able to be that kind of chameleon type guy. Absolutely. Yes. Clinton was a little known Southern governor who got elected by staying on, it's the economy, stupid. Yes. And this is what's funny. This is the issue that I worry. If I was the Trump people, I'd be most worried about for Trump, which is economy. If the economy's up and running, Trump's going to struggle. If it's up and running, he's got a shot at this. It's not, he's in trouble. Absolutely. All right. Sex abuse with underlings against the law. The Republicans weren't so savvy, it seemed, or had ghosts in their closet. I don't know what that's about. That must be some of the piece I was talking about. I apologize. All right. Okay. What do you think about Richard Spencer coming out saying he supports Joe Biden? I don't know Richard Spencer at all. I know who he is. I don't know him at all. Like I've never met him. I don't know him at all. I don't know if he actually does or doesn't. I'm not sure he does. He might just be saying that. He might be trolling. I have no idea. I always thought Spencer was a Trumpster. Last I remember he was. He might be just trolling. I'm not sure it's even true. So, yes. All right. Trump also supports his down ballot picks. This is true also, right? So Trump might be here in New York. Good point, Helen. He might be doing this in New York to try to help support the down ticket. He does do that relatively well. He does. The people he picks, he is horrible when it comes to people he didn't pick, right? He's not pro-Republican. He's pro-Trump Republican. If you're not his pick, Trump is not good to you. He is great to you if you're his pick. Yes, absolutely. Yes. All three branches of government need reform. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yep. All right. Let's see here. By all means, if you're an expert, set up a time to join Larry live. Yes, he's right. Listen to Ryan. He's correct. Absolutely. Yes, you are correct. Yes. Larry, how did Pataki win in New York? Republicans are not dominant, as you say. Pataki hasn't won in 18 years, dude. 18 years. He won in 2002. 18 years ago he won. That's it. He's the last one. We have had a Republican senator win since the 90s. Was it 94? 92? Whenever that was. The last time a New York senator won, Al D'Amato was our last Republican New York senator. I think 92. I could be up. 94, in that area. Clinton era. It was the Clinton era is the last time a Republican senator won from New York. That was 18 years ago, Tony. And he's the last one. No one's come close since then. But that's how he won. Yes. Trump can win New York State. No. Susan, I love you. No. Too many Democrats in the state. 3-1. He could win Staten Island. Can't win New York State. No way. Yes. No way. I'm voting for Trump just to see how he handles the possible inflation scenario he's been setting up. That's, I'm telling you, this is a problem, and it's going to come back to bite us. I've been talking about this for years. I'm hoping people figure this out, right? It is a problem. Actually, electors are not obligated to cast a vote to the majority rule of the state they represent. That's not 100% true. Certain states have now passed laws. Sorry, by U.S. Constitution, you are correct. But some states have passed laws that have said, no, you must. So it depends upon the state. Most states have not passed these laws. So as a general rule, you are correct that by the Constitution, the electors can do whatever they want. But they just don't, right? Because they're party people. This wasn't supposed to be a party thing, right? But it is. So that's how it's worked. So, yes. In Florida, we're required to submit a slate of electors. Unfortunately, it's not from the campaign. Oh, is that right? I didn't know that, Joe. No, yeah. I wasn't from the campaign either. We're just from the party. I was just Libertarians. Yep, absolutely. All right. You vote for electors who are not necessarily obligated to vote. Yep, correct. Yes. Yep. All right. Let's see here. If I grab a couple more. I felt like a bunch of friends talking up a guy to get a date on such a great guy he is. All right. Thoughts on the Georgia jungle primary for Senate. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of that kind of primary. I mean, I get it, but I'm not a big fan. I get they do. It's how they do it. So I'm not a big fan. I much rather have top 4, top 6, something, right? I think it's a better way of doing things. So Joe Biden is a marionette for the Democratic Party. They're pulling his strings in the direction where they want him to go. If that's true, I don't think he'll be debating, because I think the only way he'll debate Trump is if he has his own ego and he's like, I'm not afraid of Trump, I'll show him. I think that might be the way to do it. Yes. Yes. Mona is serious. New York going red. Let's get our city back to blooming. Save our families. Vote red. Mona, I don't see it. I know people do see it. I don't see it. People are talking about it. I don't see it. I do not see New York State going red at all. Trump could still win this thing. I just don't see him doing it with New York State. I don't see it. So Biden has a pathetic policy platform. He has policies? Frank, news to me. Hey, I didn't even know he had policies. Okay, look, what you just told me is better than I thought. At least he has policies, Frank. I didn't even know he had any. I thought his whole policy was, I'm a good guy, Trump is a bad guy. I thought that was his platform. That's what I thought was his platform. So maybe I'm wrong on that. But okay, great. He's got some policies. They may be pathetic, but he's got, okay, see that? I just gained some respect for Biden. Thank you. Yes. The reason this is now political question is because the Bible quiz when I said we are requiring shields as a substitute for masks because the government requires it. We all know the government will require the vaccine if it comes out. What will stop the Bible quiz organizer from doing the same because the government requires it? I'm not sure where you're going with that. I'm not 100% sure, but I think you're talking about, taking over, and the vaccines. I think that's true. I'm not sure how you connect those two, unless maybe it's for something else. But I think your point, I think, is that people are taking over power so that now we accept it as the norm to include vaccines, right? If I can make you put a mask on, then I can make you put a vaccine in your body. And those are the laws now, the bills that are going up to New York State, mandating vaccines, mandating masks. They're all going up. I completely agree with that. It's terrible. It's terrible. Those guys, I'm not personally an anti-vaxxer. I'm not. My kids are vaccinated. My wife, though, did stretch out the time for the maximum time. But in no point am I okay with government telling you what to inject in your body or what you should inject into your kid's body. Never. Never. If I want you to put a vaccine in your kid, I should be able to convince you that it's the right thing to do for your kid. If I can't do that, then your kid doesn't get a vaccine. But Larry, people will get sick. Maybe. I'm prepared to accept that, which may sound horrible. I know, but I'm not prepared to allow the government to decide what goes in your body. I'm just not. I'm not prepared to go that level. At that point, why live? At that point, I'm just a drone. At that point, who cares? I'm not okay with it at all. And you know what? If vaccines are the right answer, then the government should be able to convince us of that. I should be able to convince you of that. If I can't, then I can't. And if I can't convince, and this goes back to the draft. Right. And this is going to sound crazy, but it's the same concept. People say, Larry, isn't the draft a good idea? What if we can't get enough people to volunteer to fight for our country if we get invaded? And my point is, if a nation can't get enough young men, particularly young men, to volunteer to defend it, is a nation worth defending? Right? Concept's the same. If I can't get people to voluntarily do it, should we even do it? It's a very important concept. It's a very important ideology. It's a very important thought process, philosophy. And it's one I believe in 100%. We should be able to convince you. Andrew, if I want you to get a vaccine, I should be able to convince you it's the right thing to do. And if I can't convince you, then I can't convince you. I should never force you. Never. I don't. No, I should never force you. So anyway, I know I went a bit long on that one, but it's an important piece. So I'm 100% against it. Even though I'm not against vaccines, I'm 100% against forcing people to put stuff in their bodies. I'm 100% against that. If it's the right answer, I should convince you of that. You should see others do it and believe it's true and believe it's good. That's it. All right. So I keep going. All right. If Trump stopped tweeting, maybe his popularity would stop plummeting. I said that years ago. I was like, someone should just take his phone away. Just take it, because he does sound mean. It makes him look mean. It's totally true. Right? And so I'm with you, Paul. Take his phone away. He just sounds mean. Yes. Your thoughts on a national mask mandate? I think I just answered that question. If masks are the right answer, then you should be convinced that it's the right answer. You should voluntarily do it. And the funny thing is, most people will anyway. Whether there is a national mask mandate or not, it's already there. You can see it in America. It's all over the place. Most Americans will anyway. Most Americans are going to wear masks anyway. It's already happening. And if it's a private company's policy that wants you to wear a mask to walk into a store or facility, you need to respect that or don't go into that facility. Respect that or don't go into the facility. Right? The people go, I'm not wearing a mask in Walmart. You're wrong. If Walmart says so, Walmart's a private company. If they want you to wear a mask or don't go to Walmart. I'm sure there's a local store that would be happy to take your money, happy to give you the proper service, and say, don't wear a mask. Just give me your dollars. Go to that place. So there should absolutely be no national mask mandate at all. It should not exist. It's a terrible idea. However, most people will anyway. And if a private store says you should wear a mask in that store, then wear a mask in that store or go to a different store or order online. You don't have to wear a mask when you're at home. You can order online. So that is my view on national mandate. People will anyway. I mean, it's already happening. Democrats panic to people of color while treating them like children that cannot survive without their help. Completely true. Absolutely, William. Totally true. The issue with Republicans need to message individual liberty and stress they have the power to achieve the American dream within them, I guess, themselves, if they can make the right choice in their life. The problem when it comes to people of color, Republicans is the rhetoric isn't good, right? The rhetoric isn't good. Republican rhetoric for people of color is not positive, good rhetoric. It's pick yourself up by your bootstraps. When it's not, I care about you. Let me help you pick yourself up by your bootstraps. That's not how Republicans talk to people of color. It isn't. And if they spoke better, they have a better chance of getting that vote. Don't get me wrong. It's been also decades, right? I speak about this often. It's funny. I just had Michael Voss on my show last week, and he's Republican, and him and I both have the same issue. We have people in our family who are black. We're both half black, who are black, who are conservative, and they vote Democrat. And I said it live on the air. Those of you who watch that show, I said, "You don't you have that problem?" He's like, "Yep, yeah, that's common. That is a common issue in the black community. For those of you who don't have a lot of black friends or black family, it's common in the black community where you have people who are black, who are conservative, and vote Democrat. And you have to say, what? It's been ingrained for decades that Democrats are better than Republicans when it comes to helping you out. It's just been ingrained. So to be full with you, William, the rhetoric has to change, and that will still take time to break those habits. It will take time. It's not a one-year thing. It's multiple years of breaking the habits and changing and shifting until we'll go, oh, but it's nothing but good though, right? Democrats don't help people of color because they don't have to, because they get their vote anyway. Republicans don't help people of color because they don't have to, because they're not going to get the vote anyway. So why would Republicans change their rhetoric? They're not going to get the vote anyway. Why bother going through the trouble of changing the rhetoric, right? But if all of a sudden you found people of color heavily voting anti-Democrat for just one election, whatever election it is, one election, Democrats would go, oh, whoa, we could lose this? Maybe we should actually do something. Republicans would go, oh, whoa, we can get this? Maybe we should actually talk to them and have some nice rhetoric. Republican rhetoric is just not good rhetoric when it comes to people of color. It's not positive rhetoric. It's not warm and fuzzy. It just isn't. And it needs to be better rhetoric. All right. Stuttering causes sniffing children and doing that arm around the waist that creeps up the boobs. It's a medical marvel, Shelley. It is. That's what it is. Exactly right. I stutter, which means I have to sniff kids and grab women. That's how that works. You didn't know that? Thought you would know that, Shelley. Of course that's true. Yes. Let's see here. Gold. I am with you. Absolutely. Let me grab a couple more if I could. Thank you guys so much. I'm sorry. There's just so many. I'm trying to get rid of all of these things. If I ran the Republican Party of New York State, I'd drag the party to embrace positions that mirror the gold and make red with a heavy tint of gold. Then you better not run it, because you're going to take our people. So no, William, you cannot run it. No, absolutely. You can't run it. Absolutely not. Don't run. No, it's a good idea. Don't do that. It only gets harder to win locally if we lose our ballot act. Yeah, but we're not going to, right? We're gonna win this thing, Garrett. We're gonna get our 160. For those who don't know, I'm literally packing up my bags and heading across the state again. In about a week and a half from now, I will be heading my butt up to New York State, all around New York State, Long Island, West New York, North Country, Central New York, Hudson Valley, New York City, going everywhere. I'm crossing the state again, all 62 counties, doing it again, the full Sharpe. This will be my third year in a row that I will cross the entire state and be out there talking about voting gold. I want you guys to vote gold. It's important that you vote gold. It is setting us up for the future. Something to remember, New York State, if we don't go gold, is going to declare bankruptcy in about 2 or 3 years. I said 8 to 15 years when I ran 2 years ago. COVID hit. Now I'm saying about 3 to 4 years, we're going to be declaring bankruptcy. And if Cuomo wins, he'll be taking us through bankruptcy, and he'll still be blaming Trump for it. So that's going to happen if we don't fix it. Gold is the only way of changing that. We got to start voting gold. Absolutely, we have to start voting gold. What are your thoughts on the Penn Jillette strategy to trade a swing state vote in order to get multiple deep red blue votes in order to get 5%? I'm not a fan of that. I love Penn. I've met him twice. He's one of the most empathetic, loving men you could meet. And he's smart as can be. I just don't think that works. I think that it's proven that it hasn't worked. The goal is just vote gold, make a 3-party system, then the idea of the swing state won't exist anymore. Once it becomes coalition voting and a three-party solution, once duopoly is broken, this is fixed. His plan is a band-aid that doesn't actually work. My plan is make it a three-party system that will work forever. Mine fixes everything. Yes. No love for Yeezy 2020. Look, if you want to vote Kanye, you can. Up to you. I still like. I'm still voting Joe Jorgensen. Yep. How about a Libertarian winning a New York City Council person help the vote? How about a Libertarian winning a New York City Council? I would love that. Again, local is everything. Please, Joe, please win. Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Is this really about if Trump can win New York? No, it is, but it isn't. This is an AMA for you guys who don't know, Larry, and I love your name. Larry is an amazing name. This is actually about getting people to talk about what's happening in the country, to discuss issues and concerns that are on their mind. The Trump win New York State is a way of opening. It's an opening statement or an opening question. Many people liked it and they're still talking about it. So I think it is, but it isn't. It also shows people that, strategy on politics isn't always about logic. It's often about emotion. Strategy on politics is often about how to move people to do what you want them to do, even if you don't have any policies. It shows sometimes the left-right paradigm, but it shows something else. There are a lot of people who really believe Trump can win New York. And if you're one of those people, you should look at yourself. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm going to be very forward with you here. You might have an echo chamber, and it's common for us. Libertarians are notorious for this. Libertarians are worse than anybody when it comes to echo chambers. That everyone around you thinks Trump is awesome. While that's good for you, I'm glad your friends think the way you do. That's nice. It's not how the world thinks, right? New York State is anti-Trump. No question. New York State is. Individual New Yorkers aren't. There are many individual New Yorkers who love Trump. But the state as a whole is anti-Trump. And if you're a New Yorker going, yeah, I think Trump could win this state, you're in a bit of an echo chamber. Again, I'm the pot calling the kettle black because libertarians are notoriously in echo chambers. Here, you ever hear what the libertarians say? All people want freedom and liberty. No, they don't. No, but everyone in our party does. So we think everyone does. No, they don't. Not even close. We vote for tyrants left and right constantly. We vote for tyrants. We beg to be ruled and led, and we clap when our overlords crush us. So absolutely not true. But we do it too. So this is really about people thinking differently, acting differently, and understanding about politics. That's what it's about, Larry. So good. See, Biden-Harris 2020. I got Democrats, Republicans in this place. Of course, please keep watching. Please keep listening. Please keep joining us. Thank you for being here. Absolutely. I'm so willing to help change. Only on Yes Gold. We're on that track, but we need more. We all need more, man. We just got to keep going. Absolutely. Just keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Yes. Let's see here. We actually need an electoral college in New York State. Do it by Senate districts. It would force Dems in New York City to represent upstate, and we give another party a shot at rings statewide. Not a bad idea. Let's try something like that. I'd be open to that idea. I'd be open to something like that. Why not? Or change how we select our electors through a localized New York State Electoral College would create electors that would then go up there, which means that, if out of 62 counties, if say, 30 counties went red and 30 counties went blue, we would actually send 30 and 31, right? But 31 counties went red, 31 counties went blue. We'd actually split our vote getting up there. Not a bad deal. I'd buy that. Not a bad idea. Yep. Trump will not win New York, but Republicans can send a message to the state Democrats with a strong Trump showing in November. I'm not sure that's accurate, Frank. I think if you want to send a message to the state Democrats, you have to turn the assembly or the state Senate red. That's how you send them a message, or preferably gold, but you have to it not be blue, right? That's the only way you do it. If Trump does decently in New York State, the Democrats still run everything in the state. If Trump gets 49% of, it's never going to happen. He's not going to even get 40%. But if he got 49% and Biden got 51%, the Democrats still run everything in New York State. What do you think? I don't think that would work. I don't think that would work. I have a question for you, Larry. I'm 16 years old and have been doing an activity called Bible quizzing for 5 years. This upcoming year, with the sixth, they're requiring shields, substitute for masks, small unnoticed steps to socialism, communism. Shields are way better than masks. But what they require the vaccine next? I know I will never get the vaccine, but I'm still temporarily satisfying the government wearing the shields. But yeah, okay. We kind of covered this already. I think a lot of what you're saying is correct. People do want to do it. Yes, people do want to do it. They want to get more and more power. How could Trump voters be a silent majority? He lost popular vote. No. Yeah, thank you. You know what? I think I just said silent majority out of just habit of saying that, Brennan. They were a silent movement. How about that? Maybe it's a better word. You're right. They were not a silent majority. That's correct. I stand corrected. Thank you for that. I think I just said silent majority because people say that. So that's probably out of habit more than out of thinking about what I was saying. I apologize. I meant a silent movement. Maybe that was better. Thank you. Where am I? I got like 600 followers off this. See that, Melissa? Nice. Well done. Yes. New York is not a swing state. That is correct. Yes, it is not a swing state. Absolutely. Please run again, Larry. I am considering running again. I absolutely am. Well, I'll decide next year. If I do run, I'll be announcing next year if I run. We have to see what happens over the course of next year. So you guys want to help me run, you could head on over to patreon.com/Sharpe Way. You could do that if you wanted to. That would help me to run because there'd be more cash. And look at the bottom. That could help, guys, if you want to. Not required, but that could actually help. And, of course, liking my social media also helps if you want to. Liking me on YouTube, liking me on Twitter, liking me on Facebook. All those things do help. Absolutely. All right. Let's see here. We need to, you talked about this already. I apologize. I already got this one already. Do you think the 5 boroughs should break up? Look, you could break up, but my point is, why would I want to break up to have more tyranny? I'd just rather have an environment to where you don't care if you break up, right? I mean, that's what I want to achieve. I don't want a short-term solution. I want a long-term solution. I want an environment to where the government isn't crushing you and you can survive and you're okay. I mean, that's really what I want. I'm voting for Joe Jordan for president. So am I. And you for governor. Thank you. I will say it loud in pride. People get on me about the third party, but I will be able to sleep tonight knowing I voted my conscience. I'm with you. Yes, just yes. Absolutely 100%. Yes, absolutely. All right. I did cover that piece already. Never show up for debate when the debate cannot do you any good. Yep. You can only do you harm. Biden's better off remaining under a rock. Frank, I cannot agree more. Yes. If I'm his manager, 100% under a rock. Absolutely. Not at 100%. Yes. Remind people that when they donate to a Libertarian to send a copy to the representatives. Oh, I like that. Very nice. Biden is just to get Kamala Harris into office. No way he makes it the entire term. I've said it more than once. Biden's a placeholder, right? He's a placeholder. That's why they want him to be a good man. They just want there to not be an obvious reason to not vote for him. That's the cool issue. They want to make sure there's not for him. There's no reason to not vote for him. So absolutely, I agree. He's a placeholder. He's a placeholder. Absolutely. Yes. Cuomo neglects Western New York. That's for sure. He doesn't get votes from Western New York. He doesn't care. By the way, I've been to Western New York many times. I've been to every single county in Western New York at least twice, if not 3 or 4 times. Yes. So I don't. But yes, Cuomo absolutely does. That's true. 100%. Yes. All right. If you run for government in 2022, I'll get to vote for you for my first vote. I turn 18 next year. Thank you. Awesome. I love that. That's amazing. Guys, we did an hour and a half. I want to say thank you so much. You gave me so much. I really appreciate it. As always, please like, comment, and share this. Follow me on my social media. It does matter, guys. A lot of you aren't doing it. I know. Please do it. It does matter. The follows, the likes, the subscribes, they do matter. Please do it. And for those of you who can support, please head over to patreon.com/Sharpe Way. Support 10, 25, or $100, whatever you can do. But even if you can't, I get it. A lot of people are strapped. No worries. Like, comment, share, and like all my social media. It matters. Guys, I'll be back tomorrow night and tomorrow during the day. I will see you all very soon.